Hello everyone, Sharif Obazid here with a new video. If you are starting out to use the Kadence theme and the Kadence Blocks page builder to build your website pages, this is a must-watch video for you. Because sometimes you will get lost or get confused if you are trying to make some changes to your website. Maybe you want to change the font size or color. Maybe you want to change the background color of your buttons. Maybe you want to make your page smaller in the size or in the height. Maybe you want to remove even the header and footer of your pages if you are building like a sales page or an opt-in page, but you don't know where you can find the option or the setting relevant to this or that change that you make. So in this quick video, I'm going to show you two places actually that you need to search in if you are trying to make any type of changes. Now let me start with the first place where you can find most, if not all, of your changes, and that is called the customizer. Now, to find the customizer of any WordPress theme, you need to go to Appearance and then click Customize. The options included inside the customizer will depend on or in which theme that you are using. Inside the customizer, you can set the default settings for almost everything. You can set inside the customizer of Kadence theme. You can set the default font size and color of all the text inside your website pages. You can set the background colors of all the buttons that you are adding inside your pages. You can set the default color palette or group of colors that you want to use across all of your website pages and blocks. All of this can be found inside the customizer itself. For example, here, and of course, the organization of the customizer will depend on which theme that you are using. But because I'm speaking about the Kadence theme, you'll find similar organization like this. For example, if you are trying to make any change relevant to the layout of the pages themselves, how stretched or what is the width of the page, you'll find this under the General tab. So under the General tab here, you can make some default options or settings for the layout, for the sidebar, for the images, for some other comments, breadcrumbs, social links, performance. You can make these default settings. For example, let's go to the layout. Under General, under the layout here, you'll find the maximum content width. So the content width means that how wide you want your content to stretch. If you want to stretch it across how many pixels or rems, let's speak about pixels. If you want, for example, here I'm setting it to be stretched across 1290 pixels. So everything that I add inside my website will stretch it across only 100 to 1290 pixels only. And this will make my design looks more professional. So make sure that you are choosing this maximum width here at the beginning, and you'll find some other changes relevant to the layout of the pages. For example, this is the content left and right edge spacing. If you are using the Kadence theme, if you are opening a new page, let's say this is the page, this is how this is the container of the page. If you want to make like a spacing around the left and the right of the page, this is where you can control this. Again, make sure that you are checking this before starting to use your Kadence theme. And if you are looking for the font and colors, I think you know where you can find them now. You'll find it inside the colors and fonts. For the colors here, you can set up the global palette. And simply speaking, the palette is the group of colors that you want to use across all of your website pages. And make sure that you are setting it correctly from here, and make sure that you are using this. Will show up if you are trying to make any changes to the colors while you are designing the website blocks themselves. Global here means that if you want, at some point, if you want to make any change, for example, let's say that this is my global color palette here, and I have designed my background, the background of my header using this dark color here, and some of the buttons here are dark colors again. If you want to make any change, if you want to change this color globally, I can just go to the global color here. I will change this like this. Now all the colors, all the sections that has been connected with this green color will be changed to be something like green now, not black. So you find that all the buttons have been changed. If I want to make this red, you'll find now all my colors connected with my green now are red here. So this is the global color. Make sure that you are checking the color palette, and also make sure that you are choosing the correct backgrounds for the side background, for the content, and you find everything relevant to the font colors, to the colors actually inside here. And for the typography, if you want to make change, the global changes, if you want to make, of course you need to make your everything inside your website consistent. For example, you need to use the same font size for all of your text, the same font size for all of your headings 1, headings 2. You need to make this consistent, and you can make this consistent inside the customizer. And then you can change the color, the default color of your H1s. You can make changes of the select the size of the H1s. For example, this is an H1, I think, tag. If I want to make this, let's say 90 pixels, this should be changed. No. So anyway, this will change. If this is a hidden one, this definitely will change. Of course, you can override all of these changes if you are making these specific design options inside your pages, but still you need to make the default options or settings inside the customizer to make, as I mentioned, everything consistent. And also inside the customizer, you can make some changes to the style of the header and footer, but sometimes you need to override the default setting of the website only for the pages and posts. Sometimes you need to add like a sidebar for your posts and a sidebar for your pages. You can make the default layout of the pages inside the posts themselves. For example, inside the posts, here you can set how, if you want to show or hide the post title, what is the layout of the post themselves, if you like to make them. And even you can here design the container minimum height of the page title itself, of the post title themselves. And here also you can define which sidebar that you like to use. Everything relevant to the posts or the articles, you'll find it inside this. So make sure that you are going back, or you are checking the customizer for the default settings. If you are trying to make something but it's not changing, definitely you need to go back to the customizer settings. So this is the first place where you can make, or you can find everything relevant to the colors, fonts, and anything relevant to your website pages. As I mentioned, this is the place where you want to make like the default settings, but sometimes you need to override these settings in certain situations. For example, maybe you want to remove like the header and footer of a certain page, not all of the page. Maybe you want to change or add a sidebar in a certain page, but not across all of your website pages or posts. How you can do this? This can be easily done by going to the page settings or the post settings themselves. Now, if you are designing the page itself, you'll find here 3 icons here. At the top, you'll find the page settings tab and the Kadence Blocks controls. If you are using the Kadence Blocks page builder plugin to design your website pages, which is highly recommended if you are using the Kadence theme, because Kadence Blocks and Kadence theme has been developed by the same company, so they interact with each other very nicely and correctly, and this means less troubles and less maintenance effort for yourself. Anyway, now if you want to make like custom changes to the structure and the layout of a certain page, for example, if you want to remove the header and footer of this certain page, let me just click publish here. And let's view the page. Go here. You'll find that this page has like a header and the footer here. If I want to remove the header and footer of this page, I can just go to the page settings. Inside the page settings, you'll find individual settings that can be changed to this page only. For example, if I want to remove or disable the header, I can just click here to disable the footer as well. Let's click update and let's refresh the page. You'll find now the footer and header has been removed only for this page. If we open any other page inside this website, if you open any other page, you'll find the header and footer still exist. If you want to get this back, I'll just check off this disable. I click update, I click refresh. You'll find now the header is back again. If we open this about us page, you'll find this is the header. If you want to disable this from this page, I'll just disable it here, click update. If I go and click refresh, you'll find the header has been disabled in this certain page only, but still it is existent or still exists in the other pages of the website. So inside each page, you can make like certain settings that will override the default options that you have set inside the customizer. For example, the content style is now the default. So if you are choosing the default, that means that the default option here, that means that let's say that for the content style, if you are choosing the default, which means that the content style of this page is taking the default setting that you have set inside the customizer itself. You know what I mean? Because we have already let's say that I have set the content style to be boxed inside the customizer. So all the pages that I create from scratch will take the default content style. If I want to make this unboxed, I click here. This now will take the unboxed setting, but this page only. Every page I create, every new page that I create will take the default setting when it comes to the default style. So you'll find that all of the settings here are marked as default because this is inheriting the default setting inside the customizer. For example, if I want to make this page with a left sidebar, I can just click here and this page will have a sidebar. I'm not sure if I have set up the sidebar, so let's click here and let's see. Yes, now this page has a sidebar, but for the About Us page, it is not taking a sidebar because it's taking the default setting from the customizer. If I want to add a sidebar for this page only, I just need to click edit page and I will go here and I will choose the sidebar. Under the page settings, I will choose the sidebar to, let's say this is the sidebar. If I click update, we choose the About Us page, you'll find the new sidebar has been added, but this looks ugly now, so I will just disable it. I will take the default setting here. So this is where you can find the settings sometimes. But if you are using the Kadence Blocks to build your website pages, now you can make even deeper changes or certain changes to the fonts and size of your blocks themselves. As I mentioned again before I forget this, we have here 3 tabs. The page settings, this is regarding the page settings themselves, the layout, the header and footer, and some other settings. And we have here the default Kadence Blocks controls for this specific page only. No, for across all of your website. If you want to change the color palette, you can just change it from here. If you want to add a color, you can just add it from here without the need to go back to your customizer settings. This tab is called settings, and this is relevant to the block or the page. This is the default page settings for coming from WordPress, not from Kadence theme. But here you can set like a featured image, for example, inside your posts. You'll find you can make this visible to the public or not visible to the public, or you can change the publishing date, change the URL. If you click here, you can change the permalink, the URL of the page. But what I'm interested in more is the block settings. So when you click here, you'll find that you are adding a paragraph, and this is the block settings of the paragraph itself. If we add the Kadence blocks, let's add a row layout. So let's add a row layout here. Let's add a 2-column row layout, and you find the structure. Now we have a row layout. You'll find under the block settings, this is the settings or the options relevant to the block itself, not the page, not the Kadence theme, but the block itself. If I add, like, let's say if I add a heading here, you'll find the block settings are relevant to the heading. And here we can find some people, or actually most of the people who are starting out to use Kadence, Kadence blocks specifically, will get confused where they can find the options relevant to the blocks themselves. Because they are opening the page settings icon, you need to make sure that you are using the block settings themselves to access all the options relevant to the block. Let's add an image, for example. Let's select an image quickly here. Let's select this one. If you want to make changes to either the size of the page, of the image itself, make sure again you are inside the blocks settings, not inside the page settings, not inside the Kadence blocks controls, and inside the block settings themselves. There are a few other options that I like you to make. Sometimes you need to, maybe you have, sometimes you can disable or enable certain blocks to be displayed. For example, if I want to add a heading here, you'll find that I can have, if you click here, let's add here, let's add after. If I want to add a heading, I have two options here. I can add the heading, the default heading of WordPress, or also I can use the advanced text, let's say text block of Kadence Blocks. If I click here, I can still add a heading. If I still can use the default heading of the Kadence Blocks, but I wouldn't want to get confused. So if you just want to use the advanced text block of Kadence and you want to disable the heading block, this can be easily done by clicking these three dots here and choose preferences, and here you can enable or disable certain blocks. For example, I like to search for the heading tab, heading. So I'll choose this one. So now it will be disabled. It will not show up if I try to add any heading. So let's click X and let's try to add a heading. If you search for heading, you'll not find the heading. You'll find only the advanced text block. So inside these preferences, here you can disable or enable certain blocks to be used. Usually I will disable the default WordPress blocks that I don't plan to use. For example, I will disable the heading tab, the paragraph tab, the image tab, and I know that WordPress is coming with a form block, but it will be weaker than, it will be this weak. I mean, it will not be as strong as the advanced form block of Kadence Blocks, so I will disable it for sure. You can disable all the blocks that you want to have, I don't want to see inside these tabs. Again, you can find here some, if you want to disable some like instruction free layout panels, if you want to remove the featured images of all of the pages, because I don't actually add featured images. So I click here, I will disable the discussions. I don't want people to add comments, and that's it. Now I will not be able to add any featured images here inside the page. I will not be able to add the featured image. I will not see the option to add a featured image. If you want to add it back again, of course, you can just go to the preferences and add this back again. So briefly speaking, if you want to try to find any option, definitely start out with the customizer settings. If you can't find it, just go to the page settings, and most of the time you'll find it inside the settings of your block itself. So hopefully this video will be helpful for the people who are starting out to use the Kadence theme plus the Kadence Blocks page builder. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and please consider to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I create 3 videos a week to help you create more effective WordPress websites. Now, thank you so much and see you in the next video.